Occupational English Test. Listening Test. This test has 3 parts. In each part, you'll hear a number of different extracts. At the start of each extract, you'll hear this sound. You'll have time to read the questions before you hear each extract, and you'll hear each extract once only. Complete your answers as you listen. At the end of the test, you'll have 2 minutes to check your answers. Part A. In this part of the test, you'll hear 2 different extracts. In each extract, a health professional is talking to a patient. For questions 1 to 24, complete the notes with information you hear. Now, look at the notes for Extract 1.
Extract 1, questions 1 to 12. You hear a consultant hand surgeon talking to a patient called Sarah Day. For questions 1 to 12, complete the notes with a word or short phrase that you hear. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
So, Sarah, I've got your notes here, but it would be good to hear about things from your perspective. Could you talk me through how your condition started, any treatment you've had, and anything else you think it would be useful for me to know?
Sure. Well, it all started about a year ago. It's my right hand that's the problem, and particularly my fingers, but not all of them. I started getting a tingling feeling in my thumb, as well as in my index finger and the middle finger. For some reason, the other 2 don't seem to be affected. And my thumb goes numb so that I can't really use it properly. I mean, I can sort of, to balance things, but I can't move it around or anything. If I do, I get a pain that feels a bit like an electric shock. And that's not just in the thumb itself. It goes up into my wrist and forearm sometimes.
Okay.
And I've noticed it seems to be especially bad if I have to try and grip something. So it's a problem for me at work. I should explain that I work for a company that does shop fitting. So I'm doing decorating and bits of basic carpentry, and I need to use my hand. To be honest, I can't even do things like painting anymore. So my workmates are having to cover for me. You know, we swap jobs and stuff. Oh, and the pain's also there at night. I suppose I'm less distracted then, so I notice it more.
I see. And so you went to see your doctor?
Yeah. He said it was probably carpal tunnel syndrome, and that I should rest it, which, of course, is almost impossible. I mean, how can you rest your right hand? Anyway, I bought a splint from the pharmacy, and I wear it all the time, even at night, though it does make my arm ache after a while. And he said I should keep a bag of frozen peas in the freezer to use as an ice pack and put that on every now and again if it gets really bad. He also told me to use ibuprofen gel. That worked at first, but it doesn't anymore, I'm afraid. I didn't want to take the tablets because I've heard they can affect your stomach. And the other thing he did was to refer me to a physiotherapist. She gave me exercises to do, you know, like wrist exercises and also what she called hand squeezes, where I had to hold something really tightly for 5 seconds over and over. But they didn't make much difference, to be honest with you. So I went back to my doctor. So that's when she referred me to you.
I see. Thank you for all that background, Sarah. Before I have a look at your hand, is there anything else I need to know about your health in general? Have you or anyone in the family had any major illnesses or accidents at all?
Well, I did fall off my bike and injure my right wrist. That was about 4 years ago. Apparently, I had something called a Barton's fracture.
Okay.
But that all cleared up no problem, and I hadn't really thought about whether it could be related. Apart from all the usual childhood illnesses, the only other thing I've had is insomnia, on and off. That's mostly since my mum died. I was caring for her towards the end of her life because she had leukemia. That was tough at the time, as you can imagine.
Yes.
But other than that, I'm pretty fit and I eat well. So really, I'm just desperate to start using my hand again. I wanted to talk to you about decompression surgery. You know, what's involved and what I can expect from the recovery. You know, how long it will take, whether it's painful, whether I'll have to wear a cast, etc.
I see. Well, we can talk some more about that in a moment. First of all, though, I'd really like to...
Extract 2, questions 13 to 24. You hear an orthopedic surgeon talking to a patient called Bryan Rigby. For questions 13 to 24, complete the notes with a word or short phrase that you hear. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
So, Bryan, I've got your notes here, but as we haven't met before, perhaps you could begin by telling me about the problems you've been having, any treatment you've had, and anything else you feel I should be aware of.
Well, yes, I've got a problem with my left knee. I've had it for about 3 years now, and it makes me pretty miserable, so I'd like to get it sorted out. It's like a dull pain that never completely goes away. As I say, I've been living with it, well, on and off for about 3 years now, and it's particularly bad at the moment. And if I do any bending or put pressure on it, then that makes it worse. Another thing is, that knee nearly always feels hot when I touch it, and the two knees look different. The left one's all swollen a lot of the time, whereas the other one looks really bony in comparison. Anyway, I don't remember knocking the knee or anything like that, so I think it's probably a result of the work I do. I'm a carpenter, so I'm using my knees a lot.
Sure. Are there any particular activities that set it off?
Well, yes. I do lots of kneeling, and the workshop floor's concrete. It's really cold and hard. I need to move around quite a lot, so I can't really use a cushion. It just gets in the way. And when you work for yourself, it's hard to take proper breaks. So I guess I'm just making the problem worse all the time. My wife's always saying that I'm a workaholic because I tend to work long days, often weekends too. It's pretty nonstop. She worries about me because I'm always climbing ladders. I mean, that can be tough on the knees, can't it?
Yeah.
And I do tend to notice it then. Also, when I'm helping to get an exhibition ready, that often means laying floors. And I'm usually working 12-hour days to get everything done in time. So I always know it's going to play up then. Walking's fine. I walk the dog, and that doesn't seem to be a problem. And I meant to say this earlier. I'm a keen gardener in my free time, and that can be painful. Like, if I'm digging, I can't manage more than a few minutes at a time. And sometimes I just can't do it at all.
So, have you had any treatment at all?
Well, when I first went to my doctor, she did a test to see whether it might be gout, but that came back negative, so she said it was probably bursitis and put me on painkillers. And they did help with the symptoms, but after a while, I went back because I still wasn't happy, and that's when she suggested an x-ray. The lateral view type.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that done, but it didn't really flag anything up. So I just think it's time I had it looked into properly, because I'd really like to get back to normal. I've heard there's something called an arthroscopy. Is that something I might think of having done at some point in the future?
Yes, possibly. It's often used to diagnose and treat this kind of thing.
Right. Well, I'd like to hear more about that. Because of my work, I'm very nervous about the idea of doing anything that might leave me with any kind of permanent damage. And, of course, it'd be tricky arranging to have time off, depending on how long it was for, but in the long run, I think it might be worth it. Oh, also, I think my knees could be a bit on the weak side already, because the other thing I forgot to tell you is that my dad's got really bad rheumatoid arthritis. Would that be an issue, do you think?
It could be. We'll talk some more about all that in a moment, but what I'd like to do next.
That is the end of Part A.